and welcome to today's session. My name is Anita, and I will be your moderator and one of the speakers today. First of all, I want to thank you for your participation in today's forum. We also want to thank you for all the efforts you have spent in enhancing women's status. Together, we can create a more equal, diversified society. Some friendly reminders before we start. Please put your microphone on mute. If you have any questions, you are welcome to send them through the chat box. We will be addressing them at the end of the Q&A session after all speakers finish their sessions. Secondly, some presentation materials are confidential. If you wish to receive the presentation, please fill the feedback form that we provide at the end of the session. Thank you for your cooperation. Before we jump into our topic today, allow me briefly introduce our organization. Women's Federation for World Peace Taiwan. Women's Federation for World Peace International was established in 1992, with more than 100 chapters and offices across the world today. It was officially recognized as an international organization in general consultative status of ECOSOC at UN since 1997. And WFWP Taiwan was recognized under the Ministry of Interior in 1992. It has received multiple recognition from the Taiwanese government due to continuous voluntary work across fields. WFWP Taiwan has 4 functional groups. Harry and I are Youth Observer from Group 3, Education, Charity, Peace Network, and International Affairs. Thank you, WFWP Taiwan, for supporting women community, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to hold the forum today. The topic of today's forum is Triumphant Return Project, Returnship Program to Support Women in Technology. A decline in female labor force participation after marriage and childbirth still exists in our modern society. This session will address that innovative application of technology can assist organizations to create gender justice workplaces. Through robust suites of hiring, education, and retention programs, moms can rediscover their economic potential. For the forum, we invited 4 remarkable speakers to share their views and experiences in the topic. First, we have Harry Lee, Youth Observer of WFPW Taiwan, originator of AMIT, and also a first-time mom, to give you an overview of current situation of women returning to workplace in Taiwan and a strategic plan that enhances women reemployment. Our second speaker, Sandy Su, is an experienced talent transformer specialist. She is also a C-level executive search consultant. Sandy will share how women can prepare themselves mentally and professionally in returning to workplace. Our third speaker, Anita Liu, myself, is a youth observer of WFWP Taiwan and CEO of Sea Energy. And I will share how companies can adopt technology at different stages of recruitment process to create gender justice environment. Last but not least, we have Linda Wang, Human Resource Executive at Microsoft, to share their international practice of enhancing workplace diversity through a series of DEI programs that support not only mom returning to workplace, but employees with different needs and identities. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our first speaker, Harry, to deliver her presentation.
Okay, thank you, Anita. So I'll share my slide. Okay, can you all see my slides? Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Harry. I'm very honored to have the opportunity to discuss this issue. Sorry, should I speak again? Okay, thank you all. So, hi everyone, I'm Harry. I'm very honored to have the opportunity to discuss this issue with you. I'm the Youth Observer of Women's Federation for World Peace Taiwan. I'm also a team member of AMITA, a research team sponsored by Design for Taiwan Fly Tech Foundation. And I was once a full-time mom. And today I'm representing AMITA to introduce you to a program named Enjoying Motherhood, a strategic plan for enhancing the re-employment of women. This program mainly focuses on helping women re-enter the job market after they have a time out taking care of their family. And through this program, we'd like to let those moms know that they have no need to be afraid, because moms, we've got your back. You can take your time settling down your family. You can take your time nurturing your kid. And when the time you're ready to get back to work, there will always be a position for you. Before I start, I'd like to introduce you to why we want to focus on this issue and why this is important enough to put effort into. We care about this issue because the average childbearing age of women in Taiwan is at around 31. When these women try to return to the job market, they become rookies without rookie identities. Their former job experiences at some level may be discounted. This phenomenon is sometimes owing to the asymmetry of information and the insufficient knowledge of positioning themselves to the right place. Hence, there comes up this proposal, Enjoying Motherhood, a strategic plan for re-employment of women. Let's see some data. Here are some figures we found related to this issue in Taiwan. We found that 1/5 of women having their first child leave their job after childbirth. Then we found that 40% of these women never return. We also found that it takes 4.5 years for these women to get back to the job market. Finally, we found that in 2021, the average childbearing age of the firstborn of women in Taiwan is 31.2 years old, which means that these women may just dedicate their golden age of pursuing higher achievements in career to their children and to their family. Now, let's turn our eyes to current status in the world. A decline in women labor force participation after marriage and childbirth still exists in many places in the world. And here, we take Japan, South Korea, Singapore, and the United States to be our benchmarks to see how they deal with this issue. First, we take a look at the female labor force participation rates sorted by age in 2021. As we can see, Japan and South Korea have an M-shaped participation rate curve. It means that women may have a timeout after marriage and childbirth, but they will return to the job market at around 45 to 55. Singapore and the United States have inverted U participation rate curves. It means that the retention of women is rather high in these countries. Taiwan has an inverted V participation rate curve. It means that once women in Taiwan leave the job market, they almost never return. Now, let's take a look at the differences of the participation rate among 2010, 2015, and 2021 in these countries. In Japan and South Korea, the M-shaped curves become smoother through time. Singapore has changed from inverted V to inverted U. Meanwhile, the United States has a stable inverted U, and Taiwan is always in inverted V throughout past 10 years, which means that it seems to be more difficult for women in Taiwan to re-enter the job market. In this part, we see how others deal with this issue. In Japan, they provide a thorough and well-planned job consultation. Also, they establish an information disclosure database on promotion of women's participation. Women can find information on the working styles of companies in which they are interested. They can also find information on companies that have acquired certain certifications issued by government of Japan that could verify these companies with some family-friendly policies like Aruboshi and Kurumi certifications. In Korea, they provide a one-stop service station that includes tailored supportive consults, job matches, follow-up arrangements, and training programs. Singapore has a program based on Her Career Initiative. They established an app named Career Grid that provides these women an information portal to navigate and discover the right career resources and services. They established a website named Wikipedia, where these women can find out how other women managed their return to the workplace and more. They also provide career trial opportunities for these women to sharpen their skills and to pick up something new so that these women can widen their job opportunities. Finally, they hold job fairs only for those women who wish to return. In the US, there's a startup called the Mom Project that connects moms with family-friendly enterprises. The Mom Project has accumulated 275,000 professionals, and the number of companies posting jobs on the platform has reached 2,000, including large technology companies and leading brands, such as Google, Apple, Meta, Nike, Uber, Gap, and Twitter. It has already helped 75,000 job seekers pairing with 1,000 enterprises worldwide. It makes a dignified second career for women possible. Now, we take a look at what Taiwan government has done. We divided development into three parts: 1990s, 2000 to 2008, and after 2008. In 1990s, the policies focused on short-term vocational training that fits the social impressions of what women should do back then. In 2000 to 2008, more supporting plans helping women gain skills for getting employed and starting up a business. We have a plan called 飞燕计划 in 2002, providing women loans with more favorable conditions, incubation courses, business opportunity matching, and the assistance needed at each stage of starting up a business. We also have a plan aiming to reduce the digital gap of women in 2007 to help these women gain technological skills. After 2008, the focus turned to childcare and to lower household burdens. We started childcare leave in 2009. Also, we started childcare allowance in 2012 and increased the amount of the allowance in 2022. Next, let's take a look at the market. We first take a look at the job hunting system in the upper side of the slide. There are traditional job banks, new job banks, startups, and remote job platforms, also headhunters and human agencies for us job seekers. They all have their strengths and target audiences. And among them, only Flexible Jobs, Duren, focuses on re-employment of women. Flexible Jobs, Duren, dedicates itself to help women who want to re-enter the job market. It has already done a wonderful job. It not only tries to connect moms with job opportunities with more flexible working styles, but also holds workshops to empower women with returning intentions. However, the job vacancies posted on this platform are very limited and non-transparent. Now, on the lower side of the slide is the supporting system we have. Our government started to notice the importance of supporting women with families. They cooperated with NGOs like Taiwan Women Career Development Association, TWCDA, and social enterprises like Flexible Jobs, Duren, to hold workshops, trying to help these women. These workshops were mainly focused on mental preparation, maintenance of relationships in a family, and less on topics like repositioning and tailored up-to-date skills training. This is a job searching platform created by Flexible Jobs, Duren, that is mentioned in prior slide. And as we can see, the job vacancies posted on this platform are very limited and non-transparent, which can be quite frustrating for job seekers. Following, I want to show two workshops in our supporting system that are related to this issue. This first one, I personally is one of the trainees. This workshop works in a way that everyone co-works with each other. We share and we learn from each other. We had just finished the program in November 2022. I've learned a lot and gained so much. But still, I'm really confused about the job market and doubt the possibility of me getting this job with the working style that's suitable for my current situation and can also provide me the stage to perform myself after the workshop. Compared to the part 1, this workshop works in a more traditional teach and learn way that trainees sit there and teachers teach lessons. And as we can see in the syllabuses of 2 workshops, none of them provide a clear instruction of how to position yourself in nowadays labor market. What is more, both of them ask these moms to be down to earth. They promote the idea that have a loaf is better than no bread, which would cause a con when we want to bargain our values as looking for a job. So, after noticing this phenomenon, we look back at what we can do. We think about how exactly might we help full-time moms who are planning to return to work to find a job that meets not only their needs, but also their dignities. Once we set up our how might we apply design thinking methodology to peel down the question layer by layer, and finally to shape the portrait of our TA. In stage 1, we firstly discover from prep research and desk research and derive that childcare and flexible working environments are important. Then we interview experts in stage 2 and find out that flexibility of work and self-awareness may be the point. Followed by that, we interview our target audiences, the moms, in stage 3, and discover that confidence will be helpful. Also, self-limitation must be lifted. So we conclude that the intransparency of the job market and the barrier of their self-handicapping are the keys. Because the intransparency of the job market may cause their self-doubts, and the barrier of their self-handicapping may make them hesitate to take the chance and try. This is a TA portrait we derived from interviewing our moms. We found that they all share similar pain points. There's a mom called Sally. She says to us that, and I quote, "As I surf the page of the job banks, I just don't think that there will be any place for me anymore. And that I only wish the pay range is not far away from before. I don't even care about the job title." She also said to us that, "I love spending time with my kid, but if only I knew that being a full-time mom would cause the dilemma I'm facing right now, then being a full-time mom would never be an option for me." This is one kind of our target audiences. We also have moms who care less about the paycheck, but have something else to pursue. That is, we are inspired by these if-onlys. And we think that if we can offer these moms some portal to preventions, if we can create something to let these moms learn from others, also learn more from others, then this problem may have an exit. With this question in mind, we take a look at our potential first turning point. We think that our worldwide lowest birth rate and the discussion about ESG and SDGs, as well as technology being the activator, would be the first turning points for our issue. Because a low birth rate makes the government work hard to establish a family-friendly environment. And as for ESG, enterprises have noticed that applying ESG policies would be helpful for their profitability. That makes this issue easier to carry forward. In 2015, UN proposed the SDGs. These goals should become a work all the society should strive for, which brings ESG to a new level for enterprises to work for. Finally, technology will be the essential activator to make all this happen. Technology has changed the world in decades. The revolution of how people get information and how we process them is faster than ever. Every move on the internet is more contagious than ever when we use technology in the right way. Physical activity is a must, but with the help of technology, there can be thousands of sound effects. With all these factors, we believe that triumphant return of women in Taiwan is possible. That is, we would like to introduce Enjoying Motherhood to you. In Enjoying Motherhood, we would first like to make use of digital technology, combining physical activities to enhance the transparency of the job market and women's ability to reposition themselves. Second, we want to bridge up our government, enterprises, and society to build up a family-friendly, up-to-date vocational training with credible training agencies and a promising exit for all the hard work. By doing so, we'd like to build up a sounder environment to help moms return to the job market with a job that fits not only their needs, but also their dignities. So, how do we do that? We would take following actions to follow up. First, we will make use of digital technology and create online contents. We will initiate We For Her campaign, inviting moms sharing their career paths and experiences dealing with the dilemma they once faced with between career and family. Meanwhile, we will organize two kinds of offline activities, workshops and job fairs. In the workshop, we will invite traditional and new job bankers to collaborate with moms to design thinking their life solutions. By doing so, we aim to empower these women with the ability to reposition themselves to the right place in the market. As for the job fair, we would like to invite family-friendly enterprises releasing jobs for women hunting for a second career to apply through a Mommy Intern project. In this project, Mommy can apply for a 3 to 6 months training program acknowledged by enterprises with scholarship. After she passes the program, she can get the internship directly and work for these enterprises. Finally, we would like to promote and expand this idea to new immigrant moms and other caregivers of the family. Here are some possible outcomes of our action. We'll start with We For Her campaign, inviting moms sharing their career paths and career experiences using social media platforms. We'll also plan to hold Second Life Design Thinking workshop, helping moms reshaping their career paths. Also, to hold job fairs that not only for women who wish to return. These are the stakeholders related to this program. And these are our team members. I'm Harry. I'm a first-time mom. And there's YJ and Daisy. They're co-designers of the team. And Angel, the marketing specialist. We also have Lisa, our mommy consultant. And oh, by the way, they're all here today. And last but not least, we'd like to share the core value of this program with you. In Enjoying Motherhood, we believe that for every mom and for every family, when the mom finds herself, the family can smile again. Happy mommy, happy family. Please feel free to contact. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry, for showing us the career obstacles. Okay, thank you, Harry, for showing us the obstacles and opportunities that women face when returning to workplace. And thank you for sharing us the strategic plan of Amit. What you said about building a system helps moms to find jobs is necessary, but what really makes mom fit into the workplace again is to help them to find positions that fits their dignities. To achieve that, we might need new job search models, design thinking workshops, job fair for women, for etc. But we also need to prepare women mentally and professionally. And Sandy knows it all. Please welcome our second speaker, Sandy. Sandy, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Nice to meet you today in here. And thank you for opportunity inviting me to join this forum. And I hope I can share some important or helpful insights with you regarding about job search for working moms or for mom looking forward to return to the job markets. So now can we actually go with our slide on the PC? So I'm going to go through some information with everyone. Okay, so here we go. So can we have the next page? Thank you. Yeah, so let me introduce myself again with everybody. I'm Sandy Su. I'm a teen transformation master career coach. I help the company and also the individual on their career development, as well as I was also working as an executive search consultant focused on C-level searches. And beside that, I also published my book regarding about how we should always be upgrading ourselves to find new jobs in the future market. I graduated from University of London, BA in Japanese and Management, and also got my master degree in management with University of Bristol. Have a next page, please. Thank you. So let's come with our topic today, how to improve self-worth for women returning to a job market. Okay, so first of all, when we talk about the self-worth, it's very important that you always identify what's the meaning of the word itself. Some people may thinking, oh, the self-worth is something you have to look very fancy, or it's something to do with your inner quality, your inner self. And here is the sense of the one's own value. So actually, the self-worth identify, you can express the terms at below point. Do things that you enjoy and you are very good at. So it doesn't matter if the other people, your neighborhood or somebody else, your family, your relative who is doing something completely different than you, and if you feel like you are far away behind, that doesn't matter. The best things to do is to remind yourself what is you're good at, to remind you that you're very confident, and to exercise and challenge yourself like your own thinking. See if you just have to focus on what you are doing, right? So the next one is when you are trying to do something, there may be many, many negative voices around you and saying that, oh, why are you doing this? It's wasting your time and you should catch up this and catch up that. But that doesn't really matter. For mom, for working, for any individual, that you have to trust yourself. And that is to build a self-worth in your children. The children means your inside, your inner self. And that means the most beautiful thing for a woman in their career, they can wear is a confidence. Let me show you a case studies in the next page. So you can see this is a working mom, and she's like only, I think she's in her early 30s. She's a professional bakery, and she make baking bread into different cartoon and different characters. And she's got every day fully booked in her schedule. You have to book like 6 months in advance with her. However, she's very happy, and she doesn't have to be a career woman in like we are talking about a C-level working industry, but she's fully focused on what she's doing. So this is one example outside the corporate environment. This is what you can choose to do. So when we are going to talk about returning to a job market, first of all, you need to think, as we mentioned before, what is your self-worth? What will be making you happy? And if making you happy based on your habits or based on your own time management, this is very important. So let's see our next page. Okay, so women returning to a job market. So what are we actually going to look at? There's several options. The important steps for returning to a job market, besides you're going to join several forums, finding a new methodology, what Harry just mentioned earlier on. First of all, you have to check what is important to you. What is important to you is not important to others. It's always you have to be focused. So we're talking about focus here. And when you find out, when you identify and you are certain about what is important to you, then you come down to the next thinking path. What are the returning patterns? The returning patterns will lead you to the next step by step. Then you decide your own pattern. Now you talk about the suitable tools for the job search. For example, if you decide to go freelancing, or if you decided to go on like advisory role, then there's different search portal and different search methodology for you to go ahead to do the searchings. However, the very, very important part is talking about self-caring options. When we were always under pressure of the society or like cultural differences, you're thinking like, oh my God, everybody's working so hard. So am I like really, really lazy, or am I falling behind? I'm not be able to catch up the latest technology such as ChatGPT. I don't know what other people are talking about. Then you start feel anxious and you start feel like, oh, I'm very panic. But this is also very important that you taking care of yourself. So the self-caring options we will be going through with you the next few slides. Okay, so what is important to you? Some people think she needs to do continual learning because that's his self-achievement, her self-achievement. But someone is like, no, I have to return to the job market because I need money. I don't have financial support. Also, maybe my family background needs my financial status to stay very strong. But other people will feel like I have been in the job markets. I have been in a career as a good leader. So now when I'm returning to a job market, I want to continue to build up my leadership skills. But someone, after they give the birth or after they have the children, they think whatever in the past is in the past. What I'm going to start right now is to spend my time with my children because I think the childrenhood is the only happy and very important time for me to spend. And that's about 3 years from their year 1 to their year 3. Okay, and coming to the right side, if you are like a really, really business thinking woman, then you think, oh my, I have to go through the leadership courses, strategic thinking, going through all these McKinsey reports. That's to build up your racing skills, key skills, and core skills. So all these matters. It all depends on what do you want to do. So if you decided you wanted to have flexibility, then you have a different job search options. You can work remotely or you can actually work as advisory role. So that's us to check the next page. So how we gonna identify the returning job patterns? According to the book, opting back in, especially for working mom, but I think if you are also in the job market, this can be considered as well. There's 3 different patterns. One is called switching fields. You completely switch into another field, such as you want to be a bakery, you go to be a bakery. Okay. And the other way is to work in a new capacity. Working in a new capacity means maybe you can utilize your previous expertise and work in different parts part-time or as advisory role or maybe work as a freelance. And the last one, re-entry in the same field. Re-entry in the same field is just like going back to what you were doing originally. And then you'll be working on whatever you are familiar with. However, those 3 patterns will also depending on the current technology thread, which is like the right corner, I put gig economy, remote, which is quite popular after the post-COVID period, and then you can do freelance. Again, next page, please. Okay, so I'll give you some case sharing about the 3 different patterns of what you can do. For example, when you are actually a marketing director or you are actually a marketing manager, you manage everything very greatly cool in your corporate environment. So what can you do when you switch the fields? You can go start your own business because in a corporate, you learn how to do budgeting, you learn how to do a PR marketing, you know everything. So you can well just establish your own shop and start your e-commerce at your own time as a working mommy. So you have flexibility in your time management. And then coming to like we're talking about working in new capacity. In new capacity, what you can do is if you were a BD director in a corporate, you can start to be a BD advisor or you can be a consultant. So you can just find a job that fits or meets your own expectation. And re-entry the same field will be like professor, you can come back and to be a professor, to be a teacher, or whatever job you're working on, you're an engineer, you come back to be an engineer. You are a recruitment consultant, you come back to be a recruitment consultant. But all these 3 different patterns, it will all link back to your time management. After being a working mom, I think your time is very tighted with the family and also with your jobs. The next page. So knowing yourself is very important. So maybe I can borrow your 10 seconds to note down what exactly you wanted to do. And that will change or will decide your next following decision-making path. Next. Okay, so now we come into the job search tools. Of course, people will be asking, so what exactly, how do I reconnect or back to job market? As Harry mentioned earlier on, there's different search network in different countries as well. But here I'm going to just briefly mention LinkedIn. The only reason is that because LinkedIn is being used worldwide. So 1111 job bank, so 104 maybe it's only available in Taiwan. Monster.com is available in Asia. However, LinkedIn is like globally connected in one language. Next. So why are we talking about LinkedIn? First of all, it's international and it's got wealth content. The wealth content means you've got lots of different professionals. They put their opinion and they're writing articles in LinkedIn. You can go and catch up what's going on if you have been out for the corporate environment for a long time, go and read people's comments and understand what are they fashion for and what are they actually catching up for. Okay, and then for the update changes, so you know what's going on. Beside that, there's several industry update groups, the industry interest group that you can join. If you are like in a marketing field, go and check what's the latest threats coming from ChatGPT, or like any role model you wanted to catch up and to look up for. And then in LinkedIn, you also can see some different courses available for learning, for critical thinking. You can make connections and make sure even you are returning to a job market or after giving a birth, you are still on the page of the growth mindsets. And then to maintain your international competitiveness, which will be discovered by people who are looking for the right professionals. Next, please. So what do you have to do for your LinkedIn in order for you to be discovered or for you to be headhunted? First of all, your structure bio is very important. Believe before you actually get married or give the birth, you were in a job market, you have your profession, you have your well-established experiences. That should all be written down in the proper profile. And then the bio will be searchable to those people who are actually looking out to you. And then get some recommendations from the previous connections or previous colleague to put some wording for you on your profile. So people actually have a good impression and then have some sort of ideas what you are good at. And your professional photo background is also important because that connects the image to people who doesn't really know about you. Next. So the tip is profile setting. Publishing rate. Do you write articles? You want to come back to the job market. You wanted to come back to corporate market after leaving for maybe 2-3 years. So how do you prove that you still know the market? You are still expert in the area. You can start writing some articles to get your own awareness to be back to the market. And then maybe have some like and shares to talk to people. And then people will be thinking like, wow, this guy, what is she talking about? She got really good insights. Once you get share around, your awareness, your personal branding will be published to the market. Then people will start to connect you. Once you get connected, referral and the professional networking is a very powerful tool these days. People will refer and then your name will get spread around. And that's how you also get the quickest way to get back to the job market. Go to the next page, please. So now we're coming down to the last part, the self-caring options, which is nothing to do with the job market. It's very important. Overall, you still need to think about your own time because you don't want to be overflown by taking care of the children, busy with the schoolwork, and then you have to get lots of assignments from your corporate companies, this and that. And you have to say no. If you're very tired, just reject it and have one day for yourself. I know like several examples with the executive CEO, regardless about their gender, they'll definitely have one day for themselves and they can go and read or do like exercise, go to the gym, or completely go out drinking with their friends and talking about, something happy, gossiping. That's also very important because that's part of our social life. And that will help you to release your pressure and make you enjoy more about yourself. And then, of course, then you have come to a better, happy, balanced life that make you not feeling so bad about the situation. Let's come to the next page. So after sharing so many informations, because every individual are different and unique, you always have to do is the call to action. For call to action, please note down. So now, what do you want to do? How you're gonna plan ahead for your future plan? Please put down your call to action, and then you can start to do your action planning. Then that will be your next step. Okay. So thank you and for the time. So this is a hope the sharing will be, I don't know, insightful for you. And then we're looking forward to your change in the next step. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy, for sharing with us all the potential actions and preparation that facilitate women returning to workplace. After women are ready, the society also need a recruitment environment that is friendly to women returning to workplace. Coming up, I will be talking about how to use technology to create a gender justice recruitment environment. Give me 1 second, let me share my presentation. So my name is Anita. I am a youth observer of WFWP Taiwan, and I'm also an entrepreneur with background in equity research and renewable energy. I have spent my time in London, Canada, Suzhou, and Taiwan. So as previously mentioned by Harry, although Taiwan has female labor force participation rate of 51.4, labor force participation rate varies among different age groups, resulting into convex shape, which implies many women doesn't return to labor market after they reach the age of marriage and childbirth. So what might be the reason that stops women from returning to workplace? What might be the challenge that women face in returning to workplace? First, the market offers limited job openings for middle-aged and elderly female job seekers. In traditional job banks, many of the job openings are entry-level and low-paid position. According to a survey conducted by 1111 Job Bank, average monthly salary for a woman returning to workplace is 24.6 thousand, lower than salary of women with children but never left the job market at 28.6 thousand, and significantly lower than the salary of single woman at 40,000. The second challenge that women face when returning to workplace is the invisible identity screening. According to a survey conducted by 104 Human Resource Bank, the number of interview invitation received by job seeker decreases with age. For job seeker aged between 30 to 35, 16% of them receive interview invitations. The invitation rate dropped to 7% for people over 40 years old, and further declined to 2% for people aged between 50 to 55 years old. Although some industries or position may recruit people with specific traits based on the nature of the job function, it is concerning even jobs such as engineers that highly depend on professional ability have an invisible age threshold. The last challenge relates to individuals' value proposition that both Harry and Sandy mentioned. Does the individual equipped with relevant professional skills and mindset to return to workplace? Article 5, Paragraph 1 of Taiwan's Employment Service Law is very similar to Equity Act in UK and United States. It stipulates that employees shall not use identity statuses to discriminate employees or job seekers, meaning employers cannot require specific identity traits on job positions. However, the Employment Service Act does not regulate information disclosed by job applicants. For example, all three largest job banks in Taiwan requires job seekers to disclose their identity information to recruiters. But before we jump into that, let's take a look at job hunting channels in Taiwan first. In Taiwan, the most common job hunting channel is job banks, where traditional job hunting platforms such as 104, 1111, Yes123 job banks have over 60% market share. Recent years, younger job hunters started using other platforms such as Urator, Cake Resume, and LinkedIn. However, most women returning to workplace still use traditional job bank as primary resource. The second largest job hunting channel in Taiwan is headhunter services. Different from job bank where job position varies, headhunters focus on job hunter with prior experiences. Most opening are in managerial position, suitable for candidates aged between 35 to 45 years old. In traditional job banks, where most job seekers use identity information such as gender, age, photo, are required information on resume. Although photo, marriage, and family status may not be required depends on the platform you use, they will be shown on the resume even if applicants choose not to disclose. For example, Yes123 allow candidate not to disclose marriage status, but it will show unapplicable on resume. And if candidates choose not to attach a photo on the resume, there will simply be a blank space on the resume. The employer interface also prioritizes photo, name, gender, and age in applicant listing. According to a survey from Letter, recruiters only spend 6 to 7 seconds to view a resume. Under such circumstances, recruiters' judgment may be affected by job applicants' irrelevant personal identities. In the US and Canada, most companies even state that resume with photo and identity information such as age, gender have lower chance of receiving interviews. According to a joint research conducted by JobFight, the Undercover Recruiters, and Work4 Lab, the rejection rate for resume with photo is as high as 88%. There are three main reasons behind rejecting resume disclosing identity information. For example, resume with personal information such as photo, gender, marital status is considered as immature and unprofessional in North America. Employers want to avoid being accused discrimination. If employers invited job applicants with personal information disclosing the resume, employers are under the risk of being accused of discrimination if the job applicant is not hired. Thirdly, up to 95% of the Fortune 500 companies in states use applicant tracking system, ATS, a job seeking review system. In the system, resume with photo will not be recognized and they will be screened out. Resume equity is different in European country. Similar to North America, job seekers in UK and Ireland should not disclose personal information on their resume. Although information disclosure requirement is more flexible in other European countries, international headhunting companies advise that job seekers should not reveal personal information on their resume unless required to do so. Although female labor force participation rate can be affected by many social economical factors, but in general, countries that require a candidate to disclose personal information have lower female forced labor participation rate. So how can technology help? Firstly, computer programs can analyze massive amount of data in short period of time. Through the traditional hiring process, large pool of candidates are being ignored due to time constraint of recruiters. A well-designed computer program can conduct unbiased evaluation based on applicants' skills and experiences, ensuring every candidate is equally reviewed. Secondly, a well-designed computer program can avoid unconscious bias. AI can be programmed to only look at specific information, such as work experiences, and to be completely blinded from identity information. From appropriate use of technology, company can ensure higher efficiency while implement recruitment equality, giving women returning to workplace more opportunities and more options in the recruitment process. In some cases, company can even achieve cost reduction. Different technology can be applied at different stages of recruitment process. In candidate sourcing stage, companies could use natural language program model to formulate job description, and can also use NLP model in chat box to increase candidate engagement. In candidate screening phases, companies can use data processing to process large amount of data while blinding irrelevant information that might lead to unconscious bias. In candidate evaluations, in candidate evaluation phase, companies can use video analysis program to analyze candidates' nonverbal responses and conduct reference check through artificial voice technology to increase efficiency and to ensure fair evaluation. Companies can also use technology to facilitate workplace DEI programs. For example, through machine learning and forecasting model, company can evaluate employee behavior and engagement, hence identify if employees need services such as childcare, flexible working hour, for etc. There are two examples of how AI can be used in recruitment process. Aria by LeoForce is a AI program that facilitates company to conduct more efficient sourcing and screening. It integrates with ATS, so it blocks out identity information of candidates when their resume enter the system. Another example is HireView. HireView is an enterprise video interview system that allows recruiter to evaluate candidates' nonverbal responses. According to Unilever, HireView allows the company to reduce 90% of time, to increase 16% of diversity hiring, and achieve 1 million pound of cost saving annually. To summarize, what are some action that different stakeholders can take? Job banks should review the current candidate information disclosure requirement. Information such as photo, gender, and marital status should not be necessary for recruiters to make hiring decision under the employment service law. On the other hand, job banks should also consider adopting machine learning and AI model to ensure accurate and efficient matching without disclosing candidates' personal identities. Government should take on a more active role in supervising the enforcement of employee service law. Not only the recruiters should not list specific personal identities as hiring requirement, but also not to ask candidates to disclose personal identities. Last but not least, enterprises should also evaluate if personal identities are really necessary in recruitment evaluation. They should adopt different technologies such as NLP, machine learning, and AI to ensure unbiased and diversified hiring. Some considerations should be taken into account when shaping company DEI culture. Thank you. Speaking of shaping corporate DEI culture, Speaking of shaping corporate DEI culture, we have Linda, HR Director from Microsoft Taiwan, to share how a transnational company can form friendly environment for women returning to workplace through integrating DEI practices from recruitment to employee support programs. Linda, the floor is yours.
Hi, good morning. So can everybody hear me clearly?
Yes.
Great. So let me share the overall presentation I will have today. So first of all, I'm really happy to have me today. So I assume everybody can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, again, thank you for having me today. I'm Linda Wang, currently is the overall HR lead for Microsoft Taiwan. And then is very happy to be invited for this forum. And you may see from the title here, I'm going to talk about DNI, but don't make me wrong. I think women is still one of the important, diversity we are looking into in our companies, because first of all, we are a tech company that you can see most of the engineers are actually male. But at the same time, we dedicated strong efforts to drive the woman representation in the organization in the past 3 to 5 years. So let me go into all the details before, regarding what, how and what we practice in Microsoft. So here is a little bit of profile. I won't go into detail, but I would like to share that you can see before joining Microsoft, actually, I'm actually, with some of the experience across major FMCG companies. So date back to the similar time, I recognize that even Nestle or those kind of multinational companies is also drive DNI culture within their organization. So you might curious about why we are focusing on DNI and how are we going to do that. So later on, I'm going to share. But at the same time, because I heard from the prior presentations, I found out, yeah, we have some, the first time mom, actually I have 3 kids with me. So I would like to share one thing that, to all the audience today. I'm, most of the time when I give the birth and after that, I return back to the career straight away. So what actually makes make me to be continue with my career is, I think one thing very important is whether you want to strive for your, motivation, or whether you have the strong desire to continue your professional career. No matter what kind of career you are looking for, as Sandy just shared before, you can be, a baker, you can be a professional, see, suits in your company. Every kind of position is doable. But one thing very important is you have the strong drive and strong willingness to continue your professional career. So that is just only one tips from my personal experience we'd like to share. How come my slide didn't move? Just let me. Sorry, my slide. Let me. Okay. So the slide didn't move. Okay. Is my computer too hot already? Let me.
Linda, do you want me to share your slide
Oh
instead?
yeah, that'd be great. So let me stop sharing. So yeah, probably
Okay.
from your side. I don't know how come my slide didn't work. Thank you.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, sure. No worry. So when you are preparing to share my slide, I can really talk about, let's zoom in into Microsoft. The later on the slide you are going to see is really from the slide number 3 is the mission. So probably some of you may visit, Microsoft website regarding what is the overall mission of Microsoft. Our mission was composed about 7 years ago is we would like to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And then, yes, thank you. And then I would like to say a little bit story regarding Microsoft. I think day back to 7 years ago, our CEO, Mr. Satya Nadella, he actually succeeded from the previous CEO and then took over the overall positions for Microsoft. And then he seriously looking into what is the overall mission and vision for Microsoft for going towards the future 20 or 30 or 50 years. And then he recognized the importance to having the reshaped or revised Microsoft vision. So that is the overall vision come along. And then just give you a little bit the story about us. Do you know our previous mission? Actually, when our founder, Bill Gates, create and found the overall Microsoft Corporation, at that time, day back to 1975, our mission is to have every family and every person with a PC at home. So can you imagine at that time, day back to around 30 years ago, the main CPU of a PC is probably is quite big. It's actually composed some portion of the meeting room. So in viewing that kind of size, and then how can you imagine that we bring everybody or every household with a PC? But after certain years, we made it happen. So that is day back to 7 years ago, we found out, okay, we already made the overall mission happen. So that's why we really have the needs to reshape the overall vision and mission. So that was a little bit story regarding how are we going to reshape the overall mission for Microsoft. So please go to next. So after we shape that, the new version of our mission, you can think about we should empower every person. So the total employee of Microsoft Corporation is about 220K employees worldwide. But we would like to empower 80 million of the total populations in the worldwide. How are we going to do that? We couldn't replicate everybody, we couldn't replicate everybody's without embracing, different kind of diversified backgrounds or different kind of thinkings or challenges or enhance our overall experience of our employees. So we recognize the importance to really drive and shape the diversity and inclusiveness culture within the organization. So please move to the next slide. And then let me share a little bit, except for the mission we have, and then we frame and we recognize the needs for having a diversity inclusiveness, culture in the organization. At the same time, we recognize some of the common statistics happen from different dimensions for us to really focus on this part. So please go to the next one. The next one is really from the business perspective. So as you can see, I think the most critical numbers you can see from the left-hand side bottom corner. You can see from the overall statistics shows that for those organizations who really seeking for the diverse and inclusive companies, actually their business performance is outperformed the competition by 35%. Except for that, I believe that most of the multinational companies, they focus on different kind of markets with facing different kind of consumer needs and customer needs. So you can see that more than, we can have the global spending power of women up to 40 trillion USD dollars. And then not even mention about other groups like the LGBTQI consumers and some of the specific, races happen in US like Black and African American and also Latinx and Hispanics. Those are the different kind of numbers showing that if we would like to run a multinational business, if we would like to obtain the money or gain the money out from their pockets, we must need to recognize their needs. Except for that, you can see at the bottom of the left-hand side, more than 1 billion people actually with the disabilities. So, Microsoft is really providing the technology to enable all the people around the world. So how are we going to generate and develop our products to really serve those kind of disability needs? It's also one of the business case for Microsoft to drive D&I within our organization. Let's go to next one. So except for the business part, we also like to recognize the geographical and political needs. And then similar to the rest of the most multinational companies, we run on the global scale. And then we recognize more of the countries are actually, focusing more on the legislations. And those legislations really drive more, importance on the D&I dimension. So that's why I think for no matter it's Microsoft or other worldwide companies, we need to really look into this part. And then the other one, I think not just only, those corporations outside of Taiwan, even in the corporation within Taiwan, we recognize the shift of the generation demographics. So probably some of you with the organization, you already have 5 generations across the workplace. So how are we going to cater and compose our policies to really to be effective and manage those 5 generations is also very crucial. And then we also see, the birth rate is low. And then I think specifically Taiwan, at the same time, while we really try to compete with the global talents, we see the shortage. At the same time, we also see the needs from those millennials. Millennials feel that if they would like to choose their career, they would like to join some companies with social impact and the right purposes. So that's why I think from this dimension, we also need to thinking about the D&I within the organization. So please move to the next one. Last but not least, I think it's really from the human dynamic. So basically you can see if the employee or any person feel exclusion actually will activate the brain and then with a similar experience that the physical pain. So with that kind of exclusion, it will actually increase the defeat behaviors and then cause the fatigue and also increase the defensiveness. And then actually will decrease your employees with their well-being. So from those dimensions, we also need to see how we're going to create a much more open and then much more inclusive working environment actually could really bring the best out from your people. So this is really another critical factors I would like to share why we need to focus on D&I or DE&I. Okay, please move to next. Okay, so you might curious, like at Microsoft, how are we going to really drive? And then I received some of the prior questions asking me, whether our organization is a relatively smaller organization, whether we really need to spend a lot of money to build this kind of foundations for diversity and inclusion. I have to say that probably you observe some of the corporations spend a lot of activities or cost regarding composing some events. But I think fundamentally within Microsoft, what we are looking into is really how are we going to build and foster the culture and then enable our employees and by having our capabilities to build this kind of D&I for internally. So we will see through different kind of dimension. First of all, how are we going to really strengthen ourselves with learning and building empathy with the organization? The secondly, when we look into internally, we would like to deepen the demonstrated behavior or value. So we focus more on the individual development and also put some focus on driving the performance and management to really set some of the core priorities for our employees. And of course, at the same time, we try to helping or foster and then meeting every kind of different needs. So we have some inclusive benefits. Last but not least, we definitely will enable our employees to recognize this is the accountability of a company and then having them self-volunteered to support the D&I agenda externally. So let's go into some of the best practices or probably happening in Microsoft for some experience sharing. Please, next one. And then I'd like to highlight one of the easy, not easy, I have to say that most important capabilities that we want to build internally is those kind of inclusive capabilities. We encourage every one of us in the Microsoft to really practice awareness, exercise curiosity, and last but not least, demonstrate courage. So you may curious, what does that? So practice awareness, I think we would like to leverage everybody, having this ability is really try to be curious about your colleagues, be curious about your customers, be curious about your consumers regarding what exactly they need, why they are thinking that way. So we would like to have everybody really have at least the awareness. So this is really help us to get more empathy and understanding others from more empathetic angle. Secondly, I think exercise curiosity, I think is quite similar as what I mentioned. So when we try to understand others, we can ask ourselves to raise a lot of questions about why. So when we ask ourselves or force ourselves ask why, we have more chance to get more insight out from the target audience we would like to understand more. And then last but not least is really to demonstrate courage. I think this is really important. We encourage every one of us, if you see those kind of behaviors not inclusive, we encourage everybody to say, no, or we encourage everybody to speak up for the person who is unable to say no. So those are quite important capabilities that we encourage everybody to demonstrate. I saw Sandy is nodding. I think I say the no or is actually from her presentation. I quite echo on that point because like us, if we have tons of meetings during COVID-19. I would like to take myself as example. So at that time, during this kind of moment, we need to stay home, and then even my kids are really home learning. And then I normally will say to my colleagues, please don't book the meeting during 12 to 1, or don't book the meeting from 6 to 7 because I need to cook lunch or dinner for my kids. Sorry for that. So you have the courage to really speak up. Okay, please move to next one. Okay, so by having that kind of ability is not just enough. And then we also ask the leaders to really role model those kind of behaviors. So, we, one of the tactics we use most of the time in our organization is really leverage the storytelling. What does that mean? So we have every leaders to really self-reflect regarding what kind of D&I, practices they have, or what kind of D&I inspiration they have. So we will leverage their, sharing to really influence the rest of the organization or those people whose level is below them. So once they see our leaders can really say no to others, they will try to copy and make it happen. So this is how powerful the storytelling ability is quite important. So okay, so let me move to the next one. And then the second one we normally will do, sorry, the slide didn't move. Oh yeah, is really regarding the performance and development. So like the capabilities, three capabilities I just mentioned, I think first of all, we leverage all the training to ensure that everybody understand what is the different kind of inclusive capabilities. So by having that kind of training, so within our organization, everybody can build a common language regarding D&I. And then after that, we even set some of the performance requirements, similar like the core priorities we would like to drive every year. So one tips, don't set too many priorities for a year, but I think you can set some critical priorities for the organization, for everyone from top to down, can really adopt for that specific year. And then we really drop into the performance management system. And then we ask everybody to really try to practice, demonstrate, and then even at the end of the day or at the end of the fiscal year, you can review back what have you done and then change yourself to cater a more diversity, inclusiveness working environment. So this is really, we call performance and development. So let's move to the next slide. So I just want to share some of the real practices. You can see the left-hand side, bottom one, those are the training we normally will take related to D&I. One thing I would like to highlight, we talk about the recruitment part. So for all the people managers who are conducting the overall hiring or selection process, we will train everybody to get the license from the inclusive hiring. So for example, when you really try to interview some of the disabilities who are blinded, who are having some hearing problems, and then what kind of questions you can ask. At the same time, you can allow them feel you treat them as a normal person. So this is some of the things. And then for the left-hand side, at the top, we even, when we gather some of the applications out from the applicants, we will ask them whether there's any accessibility needs or requests you need our company to support before you really, meet our persons or meet our interviewers. So we will gather those kind of support or needs needed, and then really, try to cater all those kind of settings to make the interviewees comfortable. So those are some of the practices I would like to share with you. Okay, next one, please. And then next is really how are we going to ensure that we offer the benefits to be more inclusiveness. I think one of the common things, like for example, like the maternity leave, I think most of the cases that we will offer to female in our country. But overall, of course, so far in Taiwan is like this. But like in US, no matter is you as a person who deliver the kids, deliver the baby, or the other one who really deliver the other one who actually support the process to deliver the baby, we will grant a similar, maternity leave for the employees. So that this just, give one of example. And then other like parental leave, caregiving leave, I think no matter what, especially, for those kind of countries who are not able to legally grant those kind of LGBTQ plus employees to have the similar eligibility within Microsoft, we will grant it. So no matter whether the country is lawful or not lawful, we will make our internal benefit flexible for getting those kind of different specific needs. Okay, so let's move to the next one. I think that this is the last, second last slide. And at the same time, we are holding every one of Microsoft employee accountable to really deliver our commitments. So first of all, worldwide, we will, release one of the global diversity and inclusion reports. And then, this year, if you refer to the recent one, this is the old, though the picture is from 2020. But this year, if you refer the recent one, we actually published the worldwide within Microsoft the pay equity for female and male. So when we were cascaded internally, that is also the first time I know that Microsoft is one of the few corporations has the courage to really publish the wage, to ensure that we can continuously monitor the figures to ensure that we drive the pay equity for our corporation. And then, so I don't know how about other organizations, but I think this is one of the things that Microsoft would like to show our commitment. And nonetheless, to say, we actually have some other women cultivating programs. For example, like in Taiwan, we have the event called Coding Angel. So for our corporation, we will run in next week, Saturday. So what does that Coding Angel means? Because we would like to cultivate more tech females, get into our organization, get into our society. So we actually ask our colleagues to become the volunteer, give their sharing, even give their or give the instruction of construction the instruction through this kind of how can I say coding program to freely coach those kind of senior high students or even university students focus on the tech female, and then allow them to really enhance their coding ability or expand their perspective regarding how to pursue their career under the tech world. So those kind of the commitments that we would like to leverage those kind of programs to bring our social responsibility back to the community. So this is one of another example we talk about our commitment. And then please move to the next one. So this is also like to show, except for talking about that, then how are we going to internally track ourselves we really need a track. For example, you can see from the right-hand side button, the button chart. This is really the one that we track how many female we recruit into the organization. Also, what's the current preparation, the percentage representation of the female into the organization. And then, of course, we set annual target. So what is the target we want to achieve? And then if you see from the left-hand side, the top chart, that is really our D&I report we published publicly. So we track every KPIs, and then we see how much progression we have made through all the efforts. So, this is the end of my slide. So I just want to say that, this is really not a one-time effort. It's really a journey. And then we can really accumulate and then the progression little by little. But if you are the corporation who committed to do that, don't let go, or don't just give up at the early beginning. You have to really continuously drive and dedicate the efforts to make it happen. So that will be wrapping up my presentation today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Linda, for sharing with us how companies can design and implement DEI programs to not only support their own employees, but to create a more welcoming job market for all candidates. Although in many parts of the world, women are still facing obstacles in returning to workplace, but with better supporting programs and appropriate use of technology, we can create a gender-friendly process and workplace for women returning to workplace. Now we will enter the QA session. If you have any questions, feel free to share in the chat box. We will answer them now. We have also collected some questions prior to the forum. Let me see. Okay, so the first question will be for Harry. From your observation and experiences, do you think re-employment obstacles exist for women from all professional backgrounds?
Okay, no, not exactly. At least not from my observation. For example, if you're in research fields or education system, maybe the obstacles wouldn't be that high compared to if you're in high tech or finance. Yeah, but it's just from my personal experience. So.
Okay, so the second question is, you mentioned about you're also a working mom. Can you share your experience of re-entering the workplace? Were there any challenges that you faced? If so, how did you overcome them?
Okay, I got employed via the recommendation of flexible jobs, Duran. Yeah, I'm really thankful for what flexible jobs did. However, all the more reason is why I feel that there exists serious intransparency in the job market. There might be more employers who want experienced employees and don't care about the gap year. But for those moms who want to return, there were no hope. They don't think there will be any place for them. And there are too few survival cases for them to see there's possibilities.
The last question for you. Some Asian culture put family duty heavily on females. Can you walk us through how many % of women voluntarily become full-time mom in Taiwan?
I don't have the direct answer to that question, but I can tell you that there was a survey with a scale over 6,000 participants conducted by parenting.com in 2020 that reveals that there are 70% of full-time moms want to return to the job market. And there are 56% of part-time moms wish to formally be part of an enterprise. And there are 75% of working moms don't want to be full-time moms. And there are 50% of moms experience more fulfillment when at work than in motherhood. And there are near 60% of full-time moms have the feeling that their life's being stuck. And there are near 60% of full-time and part-time moms think that they'll achieve so much more if they were never a mom. That would be my answer.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Harry. And now we have some question for Sandy as well. So the first question is, beside LinkedIn, is there any technology tool that you think will be beneficial to build a more transparent job search network? And how do you recommend we can make use of it?
Sure. Well, beside LinkedIn, normally, if you are preferring going to do remote work, that's actually quite popular these days for the new job pattern. There's several you can Google. For the easiest way is to Google on the Google asking the ChatGPT, what is the remote website for job search? But I'll give you a several name drops so you can actually go and look around. The one called Remote OK, so it's REMOT, Remote OK. That's one site. And there's another site called Upwork, which is UP and WRK. And then Flex Jobs, is FLEX, flexible, Flex Jobs. So those sites is like, and another one, if you want to look for the remote job globally, that will be Remote Global. Those one would be quite flexible, especially for moms or for someone who have to stay at home and work remotely. So you can choose that as another search tools for your job search networks. And the best way actually would be through your personal contacts or professional contacts within the job network. Because these days, actually, corporates, they don't really, under the sense of urgency and also the urgency hiring request, they normally asking the internal colleagues, do you have anybody who can you can recommend? And that will actually speed up the hiring process. So for that part, if you stay connected with your ex-colleague or stay connected to your society, I mean, as professional networking society, you probably will get the first-hand information who is actually doing the hirings. So linking is very important. So you have your own personal profile updated, and then word of mouth spreading. You have to have maintain your social networks. Even you are mom, you're not working, you can just, hey, what's going on? Can you tell me what's available in the market? So that's another powerful tool you can use. And finally, I will just wrap up with the remote options, so you can have some flexibility in your jobs.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. The second question is about founder practices. Which of the three patterns to return to job is most common in Taiwan, and why do you think so?
Which three patterns? Normally, they will probably, it's okay in Taiwan. It depends on two categories, whether you have money or not. So if you have financial aids provided by your parents, like grandparents, willing to look after the children, then normally mom would prefer going back to the job market to do a full-time job because they need financially. They wanted to raise children in a very wealthy environment, like bilingual schools since their nursery. Right. But if you don't have the financial support, then what they do is they probably need to take care of the children, but at the same time start with some freelance or part-time jobs or like advisory role. So basically, these two pattern is quite good. And finally, if you are already very proficient in your previous job market and you got all the connections, some people will just start to build their own business. And the own business doesn't have to be, as I say, you can see the bakery business. It's also going to make more money. Even like YouTuber these days, some working mom, they said to do the channel sharing information about raising the children and babies. There's many options, but it's all depending on if you have enough connections and how strong is your connection willing to support you for your income.
Okay, thank you, Sandy, for sharing. And we also have a few questions for Linda. Okay, so the first question is, you have shared your belief with us, and it is very notable. But you're still in an enterprise. You're a profit-oriented organization. That is, I would like to know, is adopting DEI policy beneficial to profitability? Will the adoption of DEI policy cost more than you don't adopt it? Why do you think so? And if the adoption of DEI costs more, then how does Microsoft deal with it?
Thank you for the question. I think through my slide, I already shared that the general statistics shows that definitely, yes, if some of the organization really focus on driving the DE&I, priorities within the organization, actually they are 35% outperform than other competitions. So this is really from the financial side. And then I also shared during my presentation, I think, yeah, some of the people might think about drive DE&I is really a costly event or is costly, for the corporation. But I think every corporation can really looking into what is the objective for driving DE&I, and then whether there's any better way to drive DE&I. So it also means that not necessary to really spend a lot of money. So if like what I referred to my previous organization when I was in Nestle, we are also very cost sensitive organization. So the practice we had is like, first of all, of course, we have those kind of concepts embedded, and then we train up every HR professionalism to understand what is the DE&I, and then we have the HR to be the internal trainer, and then to coach every employees or share with the people managers regarding why is focus on DE&I, and then how are you going to enhance the ability to drive DE&I. So those are the, HR become the internal trainer actually is without any, costly investment. So I have to say that, first of all, don't just drive DE&I by spend a lot of money. I think we need to review what's the key objective, and then what will be the valuable resources for you or for the corporation to drive DE&I.
Okay, we also have a very interesting question. It's also for Linda. One of the participants asked, from your point of view, will AI replace HR?
I think I don't know whether this really asked by HR colleagues or something, but I think if you are the HR professionalism, you have to that within all the HR works, not every piece of information could be systematic, or centralized, or leverage AI to do this kind of predictable things. Why I say that, I just want to say something. For example, if you are the HR who is the policy owner for the entire organization, you need to really set up some of the policies on behalf of the company towards every employee. Out from the overall, AI statistics, you also probably need to understand what is the human dynamic or what's the true needs out from your employees. So most of the time, when I practice for myself, no matter really making a policy or setting some game rules, or even like the interview, at the moment, of course, we really need to embrace the data. So-called like the data is out from the AI, or the data is out from the Excel, or any kind of data. And then we see the trend out from the data. But at the same time, you have to be the voice, or be, as the role, as an employee, to understand their true needs. So I will call another one is like data insight. We need to have the insight. And those insights, I don't think the AI can replace. And then so when you have the data, you have the insight, and then you make the policy or you make the program for the HR. So I have to say that I don't trust that AI could 100% replace HR work, but definitely, for some of the transactional basis or systematic, processes or those kind of things, yes, probably we can really, get some insight out from AI, or get the machine learning out from the data, or from the AI practice, application. But don't forget, we still have some of the part is really coming from your brain, your human insight. So this is the thing I would like to highlight. So I'm not worried about, but I think one thing, just one more statement for all the HR practitioners. I think HR has to really adapt to the change and learn new skills to upskill ourselves. And no matter it's from technology perspective, and get along with the data, and then get used to leverage the data or AI insight. I think this one still very crucial. So this is also challenging ourselves as being up to date or adaptive HR go along with the generation or the changes.
Okay, thank you, Linda, for your insightful information that you shared. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for your active participation. We would also like to thank you all speakers for your insightful presentation. Due to the time constraint, if you have any follow-up questions, please leave them via the link provided with your email address. And thank you again, and have a good day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.